Today we're going to talk about characters and conflict in fiction. There are several different types of characters, but we're going to focus in on the two main characters. Not all characters are the same, and we can put them in different categories. Looking at the list of characters that I have here, Harry Potter, Batman, Simba, Mulan, Jack Sparrow, Bella Swan, what do you think they all have in common? These are the good guys, the hero. Normally, these are the ones that you're rooting for throughout this story. You want them to be successful, you want them to win. And the literary word for these characters is the protagonist. Now, opposite. What do you think all of these characters have in common? Lord Voldemort, he who shall not be named, Evil Queen, Wicked Stepmother, Davy Jones, Yzma. Sorry, you can't say Yzma without doing it like that. What do all these characters have in common? These are the bad guys, the main opposing character working against the protagonist. And they are called the antagonist. Every story has a conflict. What is conflict? Can you think of a time when you've ever had a conflict in your life? In fiction, conflict is the main problem the characters are dealing with. Some stories have more than one conflict, but usually there's just one main conflict. And just like with characters, we can put these into categories. There are two categories of conflict. The first one is external conflict. The second one is internal conflict. Let's go to external conflict. We would deal with this quite a bit. This is any conflict that occurs between a character and anything outside of themselves. So it could be against other people, against machines, against nature, but something is working against that character on the outside. Internal is another word for inside. This is a conflict that occurs within the mind of one or more of the characters. This is all in their head. Let's take a look at some examples of conflict. Bethany Hamilton is a surfer who lost her arm when she was 13. 1 month later, she was back on her surfboard. She was determined to overcome her disability. 2 years later, she won first place in the Explorer Women's Division Championship. What kind of conflict is this? This is an external conflict. She lost her arm, and outside forces were working against her. However, she overcame her disability, learned how to surf again, and ultimately won the Women's Division Championship. Melissa is super excited about going to the movie with her friends on Saturday night. However, when she asked her mom if she can go, her mom said, "Sorry, Melissa, you're not going to be able to go." "Why not?" protests Melissa. "Well, your report card says that you have a C in science. That is not acceptable. You need to stay home and study." What kind of conflict is this? This also is an external conflict. It's between Melissa and her mother. It's almost as if Bridget was born with a football in her hands. She's a natural player with the heart of a true athlete. Her goal is to play in the NFL someday. However, first she needs to convince her school's football team to let her play with them. What kind of conflict do you think this is? Also an external conflict. Bridget has to convince her high school football team to let her play. Carlos has always wanted to go to Duke University. However, every member of his family has attended the University of Michigan. Carlos can't decide whether to follow his family's footsteps or follow his own dreams of attending Duke. What type of conflict is this? This is an internal conflict. Carlos is struggling inside his head on whether or not he should follow his family or follow his own dreams. It's not that his family is pressuring him, at least not that we know of in the information that we're given. So this is all in Carlos's head. Whether he goes or whether he stays, the choice is his. Therefore, the conflict is internal.